Welcome to That's No Class. I'm Brian Baruman.
And I'm Morgan Darian.
Welcome back to the home of class, where we talk about the most interesting and funny things happening in the news and in our lives, try to figure out how to live classy, and call out no-class moves.
This week in news, Brian covers revolutionary ideas on living as a couple. I rejoice the finding of my favorite judge. Brian brings up a debate. I share the story of a dreamer and a schemer. And as always, we end with our no-class picks.
Listeners are already using the 4 young words. One listener reached out to me and immediately said he's got a friend that's so fake, and then he usually buys weed that's pretty mid, but this week he got some top shelf stuff. And
Nice.
I know exactly what he's saying now.
Nice.
Because 4 young keeps it real. One listener telling me she was saying fake about 14 years ago when she was in high school.
14?
Yeah.
Dang.
I keep laughing about Lily telling us that she calls us fake all the time.
I know. I don't remember her calling. She probably just calls us that in her
No,
head
she
a lot.
texts me that all the time. You're so fake. Okay, let's
Rude.
get to some news.
Now here's the news.
All right, the Wall Street Journal taking aim at the bedrock of the modern relationship, sleeping in the same bed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The article says a growing body of research has therapists and sleep scientists saying it's okay for couples to sleep apart because they say sleep is important and you're going to have a bad marriage if you don't sleep. And I'm with that, of course. If you don't sleep well, your life sucks completely. I know all about that. But then they trot out some examples that are just really wild. They talk about one couple where the woman has to have the TV on to fall asleep, and she needs it on to stay asleep. The man has a fan running at the foot of the bed and wakes up at 3 a.m. every morning no matter what and loves it.
And loves it?
Yeah, and
Psycho.
then the woman says that he has garlicky breath and she can't breathe.
And she can't breathe.
And they had an example in the article of her reaching her limit and screaming, "I can't breathe." And so one time also he punched her in the face accidentally.
Is
in the
this
face.
all the same couple?
This is all the same couple.
Okay.
They haven't.
They got some issues.
They got a lot of issues. And this, I'm going to get to this because I'm with you. I am with you 100%. They haven't slept in the same bed in over 30 years of marriage. They even sleep separate when they're on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm with you. When I read this, what the heck are these crazy examples of this? And so I say, isn't a marriage about compromise? She won't turn the TV off. And it sounds like
wild.
He won't brush his teeth, and neither one is backing down and is like, I need to be able to do this. So
I have to eat 50 pounds of garlic.
I have to eat tons of garlic.
Before bed.
And I need the TV on all the time.
I mean, if you can, I get it, needing a sound to fall asleep, but you can train yourself to fall asleep to different things or to nothing. I mean, you really can.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it nice to have a sound? Sure.
Yeah, you like white noise.
Sure.
I can get that. But TV is very different. TV is
that's
awful.
wild.
I mean, we are not TV people. I know a lot of people do sleep with the TV on.
Yeah.
I can't relate to that in the least. So if you have one person in the marriage who is very pro TV and another person who's not, there's got to be a compromise, man. I don't get how you just are black and white about the whole thing.
Yeah, that seems wild.
So the experts say
It's like a lot of things.
it's a lot of really wild things. And they only give me one couple as an example in this whole article.
It's insane. Who? Where's this article from?
This is Wall Street Journal.
Amazing.
Which is
Amazing.
What the highest heights of journalism. And I get that it's hard as a journalist, but you need more than one example. You can't run this whole article on
3.
one couple.
Yeah.
And a couple of experts. We need people
One
really
couple
living
who
this.
is fully insane. Both of them are
Both of them
insane.
fully crazy.
Amazing.
So the experts say that you have to make sure, if you are going to do the separate sleeping thing, that you still have to make sure that you have intimacy and time together. Yeah. And I guess if you're not sleeping together, you better at least have that. But then what? You do it and then you leave? You go to separate rooms and you spend the rest of your evening separate from each other?
No.
I'm just really skeptical of this article. And I'm glad that you're with me already because we don't often agree.
We don't often agree.
So I'm glad that we're in agreement on this. They say
I can't breathe. Get out of my bed.
It's crazy. They say the major reason that couples stop having sex is because both are exhausted. And so their logic is you need to do whatever it takes for you to get sleep. So separate the beds and separate. I don't think this is cool. I don't think this works.
No,
Maybe
you
I'm
gotta
just
power through sometimes.
or just you gotta compromise, man. The whole relationship, you will find, I think, granted, we haven't been married for 30 years.
True.
But I would think that at some point you gotta have some sort of compromise and maybe change some of your wild habits.
Yeah, I don't eat onions because I love you.
And I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It so much. And I don't eat garlic almost ever. Unless Lily's home, because that's a special occasion. Thanks, Lily, for letting me eat garlic, because then I can leverage that.
But then you eat garlic. You have to eat garlic at the same time.
As you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the rules.
But everybody knows this.
Them's the rules.
Everybody in a successful relationship knows that this is how it works.
Yeah.
And you don't leave the TV on and breathe garlic into the other person's face.
Or punch them.
Or punch them.
I mean, rule number 1, no punching.
So yeah, not buying this article, real sus on it, and find some other couples that aren't gross or super crazy right now.
Agree.
All right, what do you got?
It's very interesting. Okay. This bit of news was sent to us from a listener and has graced many outlets, but my favorite telling of it comes from foodandwine.com. So I'm going to give them credit. Food and Wine almost got me to subscribe to their magazine, and I'm still thinking about it.
Interesting. Okay. What happened?
So, a 49-year-old woman walks into a bar. Sorry, correction. A 49-year-old woman walks into a Chipotle. A 17-year-old employee gets her burrito bowl wrong, so they remake it. Something else is wrong with the second one, which, by the way, at that point, it's her fault because you can literally watch them make your bowl like in real time through the glass.
Yeah, where are you during this process?
Yes, I digress. So it's wrong a second time, and she starts yelling at the employee. So the 20-something manager steps in, tries to calm her down. It looks like she hands her a business card. I'm guessing she's saying something like, "You can complain more here."
Okay, yeah.
This woman keeps yelling and gestures wildly and then throws her burrito bowl in the manager's face. Yeah.
Okay.
The bystanders really jump to the rescue here. One even follows her out to be like, "You can't do that." And they get her license plate number. So she gets arrested and sentenced to 90 days in jail or 120 days in jail or something like that.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, but the judge, my new favorite guy, Judge Timothy Gilligan in Ohio, says she can cut down her jail time if she works 60 days at a fast food restaurant. She takes it, of course. But this last paragraph in their article is why I'm about to buy Food and Wine magazine. Quote, "Plenty of Food and Wine editors have put in time at chain restaurants and affirm that everyone should work in the hospitality industry to witness the full buffet of humanity." The full buffet of humanity is like a great pun and sentence and statement. And I just pray she gets her ass handed to her over something that is not even remotely her fault. It's just the best feeling ever. I live for it.
That's awesome.
The judge was like, "You don't get your burrito bowl and then you act this way. This is how you respond. This is not Real Housewives of Ohio. This behavior is not acceptable."
That's what the judge said? That's a quote from the judge? That is amazing.
I mean, he didn't use Ohio. I did make that little because he used the city, but it's hard to. From. It's a small place.
Yeah, no one would know.
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
See,
this is not the Real Housewives of Ohio.
I like when the judges do creative stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like when they make them wear signs or something.
Yes.
She should be forced to wear a sign that said, the reason I'm here because I threw a burrito bowl at a Chipotle employee. Should be shame.
Shame.
Big fan of shame.
Yeah.
Well, that's
really
a
great.
Wild story.
Yes.
And great. I'm glad.
Thank you to our listener for sending
yes,
that.
thank you so much for that. Awesome. Awesome.
Do you have personal news?
I do, actually, because we've actually been gone for a little while.
Yeah.
Listeners won't know because we do magic here where they can listen wherever they want. But we have not been home or in the studio in a little bit.
Yeah.
A long trip. And my personal news is I'm super excited to be back here. And what is surprising and why that's noteworthy is because if you would ask me before we left, if I thought it was even remotely possible that I could feel excitement to be back doing anything,
Yeah.
Even the show, even the thing that I love the most and that makes me feel connected to all of our listeners and that I love, I was so burnt and so dreading doing another episode. But I am energized to be back here. And I feel so good because I finally got sleep. And it was awesome. So I feel great. And that is news. And here we go, man. Episode. What about you?
Okay,
What's going on with you?
So we celebrated the holiday early with both our families.
Yep.
It was a raucous time.
It was.
My personal news is that my sister got me bathroom water glasses for Christmas. The other items I asked for or got made sense. This one doesn't, but it's one of those fun things that are just totally not needed at all, and I would never buy this for myself because it's dumb to have it.
What is it? Like, I don't even know what it is. Explain to the listeners what in the hell bathroom water glasses are.
I'll probably never use it. It's just you store some water in this little pourer, and then you have two little glasses. So it's like, if you need a drink of water before you're going to bed, you don't have to go to the kitchen.
If walking to the kitchen is too much and you don't want to leave the room, that's what it's for.
Yes.
How often are you going to re-pour the pitcher? How often does this have to be maintained?
No, you probably can't keep it in there too long because it would taste gross.
It would be kind of weird.
Yeah. I'll probably never use it.
Wild gift, but hey, I support that you get whatever you want on Christmas. And if this is what you want, great. Maybe I'll keep it filled for you and keep it fresh. And that'll be
so
a nice little thing that I do for you.
It makes me feel like I'm marvelous Miss Maisling it. It's so elegant, elegant bathroom water.
You do love glassware.
I do.
Yeah. So crazy. Okay. Thanks, Willa, for bringing this thing into our house. All right. Well, when we come back, a discussion about the divisive nature of work holiday parties. And then schemes are back. But this time, it's with one person pulling off all kinds of them. Thanks so much for being here. We love having you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 'Tis the season for work holiday parties, and I don't know what your job does for a holiday party, but for 14 years, I worked at a place where the whole thing was catered. And the only reason people even went was to get bonus checks, and they were forced to. We listened to the bosses give speeches. We acted like we were inspired by. I panicked as I tried to avoid sitting at a table with people I either didn't know at all or openly despised. I was the only mechanic who didn't sit at a table with any other mechanics.
Interesting.
But now I work in a place where there are no bonus checks, where there is no official recognition of the holiday or the ceremonial end of another year. And I tell you this, I like it better this way.
Really?
Yes. But the human need to commemorate the season lives on in the people that I work with. They want to do something at work for the holiday, and if it isn't given to them, they make it themselves. And that brings me to this week's discussion. Potlucks. Are they no class? I find myself on one side, and like most things in life, it seems the show has shown me, it seems like most people in the world are on the other. So I will begin. I think potlucks are gross. Inherently, the food isn't fresh. The best you can hope for is food that's slightly warmer than you'd expect, considering it was made a minimum of 8 hours before you're eating it. And it's not even like people bring in their best tasting foods. It's like some potato salad that's mid at best.
Oh my gosh. Using the vocab.
But the people I work with, they love it. They can't wait. I had one guy come up to me and be like, hey man, I heard there's a potluck. You know how I can get in on that? And he's just so excited. So you tell me, what do people like about this form of eating in a group and providing? Why are they excited about this?
Okay, my number one question before I answer that is, what have you eaten at a potluck? In total. What are the items?
What have I, the same stuff that people always crap. There's always some lame pasta dish, and there's some bad potato salad, and there's something that's way too wet, and something that's some crappy form of shit. It's always not good. I wouldn't eat this on my free time. Why would I want to eat it here amongst you?
I get that. Okay. I think your problem is that you've never been to a Southern potluck or an olden day potluck.
I have not. have
I'm
not.
sure, yeah, like LA workplace potluck cannot compete with how it used to be.
I can see
You
that.
know
Yeah,
what I
probably not. Probably not. Okay, so what am I missing? What are those like?
Okay, so those are like a combination, at least for me, of amazing comfort food because it comes from a tradition of people, and usually women, but people too, doing barbecue and stuff like that, wanting to present their best work.
Yes.
You know, so it's like it's not a competition, but like people are going to talk about this later. They're going to be like, so and so is an amazing cook, and your what is that word I'm looking for? Your reputation hangs on this dish,
as it should.
It used to be a super important thing.
Yeah.
And so I think coming from that background, it's like, okay, like this dish better hit hard, and it's going to be my best dish that I know how to make.
Yeah.
And it's going to be comfort food. It's going to be, like every dish is going to be good.
Yeah,
because everyone's bringing their best.
And we're all sitting around and enjoying it together and like genuinely enjoying everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think there used to be more like communication because you don't want like 10 potato salads.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like now, the younger generation and people who don't know how to do it, everyone brings like a dessert from Ralph's. You know what I mean? It's not.
I'll
it's not
get to
made.
that. I'll get to that.
So anyway, yeah.
For sure.
So that's, I think, where your issue is that you haven't been to a good one.
I've always been around crappy potlucks,
Exactly.
and that's my thing. Is that why are they so excited for this? Give me one thing that's good. And I hear the people talk about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring my fill in the blank," and then someone else goes, "Oh, and I'm gonna bring mine," and then someone else goes, "Oh yeah, yours is so good," and then I eat it, and I'm like, it's not that good. Like, no,
I mean, maybe you're just surrounded by bad cooks. I don't know.
think so. Like, no one should be bragging about what I'm eating here. No one.
So funny. Well, I think certain people get excited to go because, if you don't have that in your family or you don't have a community like that, it's exciting to eat that kind of food.
Yeah.
Like going to someone's church or something. Church potlucks were a big deal.
Yeah.
And those ladies are gonna bring the heat.
So why is the reputation? I love the idea of the reputation being like hanging on what you bring to the potluck. Why aren't people trying to knock me out of? Why are they just
I think now probably. I mean, because there's no stakes.
There are no stakes. That's a good way to put it. Because we all work together every day. We see each other, but I'm not gonna. It's true. Even if I eat something lame, I'm not going to judge Joe over there because his chili was like whatever.
Yeah. You don't know how to make food.
I like the idea of like
You're shunned now.
Yeah. Or like a rivalry where someone's like, this year I'm going to make it. And we'll let the people judge who makes the finer.
The whole town will judge who's the best.
That's the way it should be. But yeah, you hit on something that we can all agree that bringing store-bought food to a potluck is wildly no class.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. At least, even if you're making like boxed mix, throw one egg into it and bake it in your own oven. At least then you said that you did that.
Yeah, if you're making like a boxed brownie, that's way different than just grabbing some brownies that are already cut. Because those are cold and dense and crusty.
We all know that stuff, the pastries they sell at the grocery store, ain't good.
No.
What
would you make if you had to go to one?
If I was going and
what's going to be your dish?
I was thinking about partaking in this year's one.
Okay.
And I was going to bring my pies. Because I think
those are so good.
My pie game is on. It's growing and it's on. And I would feel no shame. And I would aggressively ask everyone, did you try my pie?
Yeah.
Go try my pie because I stand by it.
Yeah.
And I am the kind of person. I want my reputation to stand on the strength of my pie. Anyway, listeners, do you guys like potlucks? Am I in the minority here? Do you genuinely look forward to them? Or would you rather just have something catered? Am I just a friggin' Scrooge? I don't know. But if you do like participating in potlucks, what is your dish?
Ooh, yeah.
Tell us. When we come back, people be scheming, man. And we've got a story about someone pulling off more than one. And then, of course, we've got your no-class picks. Stay with us. Welcome back. This week, Morgan brings you a schemer posing as a dreamer in the segment we never thought would be a segment, Schemes.
Okay. I wish I could name her, but I won't in case of defamation. Despite everything I am about to relate to you guys over these airwaves being 100% true. Let's just say her name starts with the same letter as Viper, the same letter as Vane, the same letter as Vil, as in this person is evil. On second thought, I'll name her Evie, short for evil, so it doesn't get confusing. Evie has worked for a long time in a restaurant with me. She started out fine, but then little things started to slip. She makes the bussers clean her entire section. She drops off checks when tables are covered in dirty plates. And if I happen to go into her section, I am bombarded by guests needing refills on coffee and water, extra napkins, a steak knife, hot sauce, their check. Basically, it's gotten so bad that she's not even performing the basic functions of a server. Is this a scheme? Not truly. If it was just this, I'd call her a terrible employee.
Sure.
Scheme number 1 takes place when she's being paid by the owners of the restaurant to be a server and instead is ducked behind the bar making deals. We were once at a meeting in which both the owners were talking about people not being on their phones on the clock, and she straight up answered a phone under a table and talked over them while they're telling us not to be on our phones.
Hiding under the table.
Yes, her head under the table.
Because they won't hear you.
And the owner was like, hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, like we
know you're there.
We know you're doing this.
Okay.
Evie's second scheme was found out by the kitchen guys. Apparently, she has been ordering food for a table, putting a note on it that says refire, and then telling them to hold the refire.
So what is refire?
Yes, exactly. For those who don't know, a refire happens when the kitchen has to remake something due to a kitchen error, a server error, or a guest error. And the server is telling the kitchen that with that note that we got to get this food out because this guest is sitting with the rest of their party not eating.
And somebody's made a mistake.
Yes.
Okay.
So there would be no reason ever to hold a refire. I mean, I can think of maybe one, but it's rare. Okay. She does this multiple times a day, multiple times a week.
To what end? Why?
Okay, the guys pull me aside and they're like, you got to tell the bosses because what do you know? All of the food she's been refiring ends up being the food she eats for the day.
Ah, you guys don't get free food?
No.
At work?
No. We get a small discount.
Okay.
But so she's basically getting 2 to 3 meals for free each day, even taking the third one home sometimes.
That's a solid scheme.
That's
right
a pretty good scheme.
That's a good little scheme.
That's a great scheme.
Okay.
It doesn't affect me, but it's definitely not something I'd ever do.
Right, yeah.
The third and final scheme that sends Evie into no-class territory and awards her the nickname Evie after the word evil. I'm not going to explain our tipping system. It's too boring and complicated. But what I'll say is this. Let's say you sell $3,000 worth of food. A 20% tip on $3,000 is $600. But she's not going to get 20%. So let's say at the low end, she gets a 15% tip overall, which is unlikely because people are pretty nice. But we'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say she's had a bad day and her average is 15%. So that would be $450 in total tips.
Okay.
In her paperwork, for a $3,000 day, she has written down that she has only made $200 that day, which is impossible unless she sat down in the middle of her section and pooped in front of everyone. Now, we tip out a little over half of our tips to the bussers, food runners, expos, baristas, and hosts. So instead of tipping them based off like $450 or more,
which is what she should be writing down.
Should be making that or more.
Yeah, yeah.
She's tipping them off $200. So let's look at the expo who works his ass off. Instead of getting $40, he's getting $18 from her. And $40 is low. It should probably be more like $50. So instead of getting $50, he's getting $18 from her.
And she pockets all the rest. Everything
Yes.
she doesn't give him, she gets to keep.
I was furious when I discovered this.
Because nobody knows about it.
It's horrible.
On paper, it looks like it's not there.
Yeah, because they don't check our paperwork.
God.
So she's not being fired despite all of these schemes being brought to the owner's attention. So now people are assuming the worst and thinking like, who doesn't get fired over these things? I'll let you draw your own conclusions, but I'll leave it at this. F you.
You get so mad, dude.
I hate this person.
Get-
You're not going to tip out the right amount?
I mean, no, that's
These guys are working their
these
freaking
dudes,
asses off.
Okay, so I have a question for you in this scenario. As the customer, you are so mad your server is awful. Let's talk about this scenario.
Yeah.
But if you're an informed eater the way that we are, then we'd like our listeners to be because of stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
Do you still tip her even though she's awful? Because if you don't, then the guys don't get paid, right?
What I do is, like, if it's really, really awful, I'll hand out cash tips to everyone that has, like, helped.
To the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting technique. I didn't know we could.
I'll surpass her. And if it's, like, really bad, I'll complain about them and be like, I want the tip to go to these people.
So you'll tell, like, a manager or something
like if I don't have cash.
specifically don't want my server to get this money, but I want everybody else to get their money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's beyond heinous.
These are some solid schemes.
It's beyond
she
heinous.
got
Like
going
that,
on
like,
over
okay,
here.
fine. Like, scheme a bigger company, fine.
Yeah.
But this restaurant is not a big company.
Yeah. It's a little.
So you're scheming a small company.
Yeah.
And you're scheming individual people that you, like,
Work with. Yeah.
And you're looking them in the face.
Scheming them.
Like, that takes some cojones.
Sure does.
And, like, F you, B. I will
sure
never
does.
like you ever, ever. You are on my hit list. I will hate you forever. I will not talk to you.
One day it'll get so bad that she goes away. You can always hope for that. Every place that I've worked that I hope that will happen, that ends up happening.
I pray to Jesus every night for this. It's the only thing I pray for.
All right. Those are solid schemes. All right. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
When we come back, it's that time. Your No Class Picks of the Week. Stay with us. It's time to wind down the show here, bring it to a close the only proper way with our No Class Picks of the Week.
You're just a jealous,
No class.
lazy bum.
No class pick.
All right. So like we said, we traveled this week. On the way back home, in line, in security at the airport, we're in, security line hell. The narrow, winding, wrapping around things, not a lot of place to move. Morgan said to me, in this environment, I feel like I can't really talk to you and I can't really think.
Yeah,
it's a
weird.
Weird, crazy place. So we're there in this mental place, and then I get bumped from behind. And it's not a little bump. It's enough that I have to shift my footing, and I hear nothing from anybody.
Yes.
I get bumped, nothing. I turn around, give the coldest side eye that I can to the person who bumped me. It's a teenage girl, older teenage girl though.
Yeah.
We make eye contact, and still, not a word. She's there with both her parents and her sister. Nothing from these people.
That's so crazy.
And it's just a stunning example of no class.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think. One of my favorite unexpected public moments of interaction, which is weird, is when a guy who's trying his hardest to look really tough, he's either covered in tattoos or he's not smiling at all or he's got this like aggressive, like just body posture, accidentally bumps into me and apologizes
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
Definitely.
Without even thinking about it because
Right.
he's a human being
Yeah.
and he's got class and he's decent and I like that person immediately. And just like that, that's my ally in the room. And that's my homie. And if
Yeah.
things go crazy, I'm looking at that guy because I know he is cool.
Yes.
So-
100%.
That girl missed out on being cool. That's all I'm saying.
1,000%.
So that's mine.
Okay, cool.
What do
That's
you
a good
got?
one. Okay, so first and foremost, I have to say that the wedding we went to over last weekend was so much fun
Yes.
and so beautiful, and I felt so grateful to be part of it. So I don't want my no class pick to ruin the memory of this wonderful event. But the bride is my best friend, and I think she'll agree with my no class pick this week. Okay, so the wedding is outdoors, looking over beautiful mountains and valleys. The bride is literally out of a magazine. The groom is tearing up when she walks down the aisle, which of course makes me lose it completely. But then whoever was in charge of the mother effing sound is fired. First off, the couple has picked such great songs. Pride and Prejudice got my vote for the best ever song played for a wedding walk. But then the lady involved who's playing the music, has no fade knowledge. So when it's time for the next song, she just cuts it off without fading it down. So it literally sounds like she's jumping around tunes. And then the other major sound malfunction was the fault of the guy who was marrying them. He didn't know that with a cordless mic, you have to stand in front of the speakers. Otherwise, the mic cuts out.
Yeah.
So half the guests couldn't hear a damn word by anyone. The only champion among us was the bride's grandma, who stood out front and used the mic correctly, which actually turned out great because her speech was beautiful.
Really great.
Yeah, so I'm happy no one missed that one. But like, my bestie is in the film business, so I have to imagine it was killing her soul that the sound was garbage. She was whisked away, so I haven't gotten the like chance to speak to her about everything, but like how it felt for her. No class venue management, but the venue itself was super classy.
Very nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sending a shout out and a 5-star review to the Whitehursts and their vows and their gorgeous family and their beautiful day, and sending a 1-star review to the sound crew.
Yeah, man, it was wild. But we had great seats, and
Yeah, we did.
heard it all, so we got to experience all
We
of
had
it.
the best experience.
Too bad for some of the others, but we got to hear every word of the vows. We got to hear the whole thing. It was
Exactly.
great. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Congratulations to the homies, Lachelle and Kevin.
Yes.
It was great.
Excellent. So that's my pick.
Okay, fair enough.
Looking out for my girl.
All right, guys, that is our show. Thanks so much for being here and hanging with us. Like and or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. We're on all the apps. We're on YouTube. Some people telling us they're very excited that we're back on video. They say they missed it, and we missed it too. So tell your friends about the show. Tell them, hey, maybe you'll like this. Maybe give it a listen when you're driving home from work. Do it.
Do it.
We appreciate you guys so much. Reach out to us everywhere. Instagram @That's No Class. You can also send us an email or a voicemail. That's no class @gmail.com, or call 877.
766-2527.
Thanks. We're not singing anymore. We said we're
No.
not singing. Call us up. We love having your stories on the show.
Stay classy.
Stay classy and have a great week.